Welcome to Immediate Review, where we see a movie in theaters and review it immediately. We just saw Birds of Prey and the fabulous, fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn. You're hitting the mic.
One of many.
And it was awesome.
That was good. It's a good movie.
Who wants to go first? We're joined by Mampton and Person A.
Hampton is our DC expert, and Person A is our woman expert.
Yep. we don't know anything about anything, so we brought them.
We know about birds.
All right. So you want to go first, or
Me?
yeah?
Okay, yeah. I honestly, I don't know if I'm gonna have a ton to say about this movie. Honestly, it was just generally good. Like the choreography was good. I thought that it kind of like was slow, like in the middle a little bit. Like there's this kind of like flashback thing that happens, and I feel like it's a little too long to get back to it. But other than that, it's like the only complaint, really. Like maybe a little slow, like choreography here and there. But like genuinely good, like super funny. Action was great. It had like good brutality, which I didn't expect, honestly.
It was R-rated.
Yeah, and it was really good.
Solid.
Cinematography was great. Color grading was excellent.
It was.
One of the things I loved in the kind of climax when we're having like our kind of Harley Quinn chasing down the car, in the background they're passing like all these parking garages, and all of the different floors were like lit super like interesting. Like they'd be driving by and there'd be like a floor that just lit purple, and then another one that's lit green, and then red, and then green, and then red.
Yep.
And like all these, just there's so much color in the movie, and they did a really good job with it. But it didn't have the weird kind of green tint that Suicide Squad had. This one had the same kind of green style, but it like the skin tones actually looked good.
This
and
one was great.
Yeah, it was like
I could definitely see that they were using Suicide Squad as like a beta test.
yeah, if you want to call it that.
I don't know. I don't know if that's the right word. It's definitely more like they were making sure Suicide Squad wasn't completely unrelated to this film, I guess.
Yeah.
Because for me, when she blew up the chemical plant, that was like a fuck you to Suicide Squad. It was just like yes, this story is built off of that, but like, this is obviously a much better representation of the characters that we experience.
Stuff like the font, the text font and stuff is like Suicide Squad-esque, but way better.
Yeah, and it didn't do like, the whole weaknesses or anything like that. It was just their name and why they were mad at Harley Quinn. And it was like, a lot of the people that we interacted with, it showed us why they were upset.
It was effective.
It showed that they all connected as well. Go ahead, Matt.
It took the positive elements from Suicide Squad and put them in
Harley Quinn.
I think it was better executed. I think.
I don't know. Harley Quinn's like writing was like not great in Suicide Squad. I really didn't.
Yeah,
like,
but still,
even with her being like the main attraction.
It's not about the
and,
writing though. It's also about just like how the character's presented and kind of just I don't know. In general,
I don't feel like the movie did it justice. This was a better representation.
Well, the movie didn't do it justice, but still it was there. And like, it was there to add potential, which is this potential, and we saw it.
I mean, honestly, man, like, watching Suicide Squad, I wouldn't have expected any type of sequel to be made from it. It seems like this was like Margot Robbie being like, I could feel like I could do this character
See, you
justice.
just saw it like last week.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I guess it's different. Like, we saw it like when it came out, and it's like, this is Harley Quinn.
There was
and
anticipation
so when
for
there
it.
was nothing, and that's all we had, it was like, oh, she's great. Give her a movie. Like, I don't know. But anyways, Person A, what do you think?
Hold on. I'm trying to like distill it into stuff that hasn't already been said.
Just your general, like your overall, what your Rotten Tomatoes headline would say.
I don't think I've had this much fun, like, watching a movie in a long time. Like, I was smiling for like most of the movie.
I was too.
It was just so like enjoyably, legitimately good, entertaining. Like, all the beats were there. It's like beautiful to watch in terms of just everything cinematography wise, and like the way that they did all the costume and hair and makeup and had it work with the colors that were already present with the production design. Like production design really like worked with the other elements of the film and thought all that through, and it worked really well. Also too, like the fight choreography was so fucking badass. Like goddamn. Like I can't remember the last time I saw a fight choreography this fucking stellar and like engaging, especially like the scene where they're in the fun house and like all four of them are like fighting together.
Oh, and the camera's just
and the camera's just like
around,
spinning around and following the fight. It's so fucking good.
There's a lot going on, but it's not too hard to follow.
Yeah, it's not like you can't track it. You're able to track it, and it's engaging and like it's fast paced, but it doesn't feel like muddled or rushed. It's like, I don't know. It's like dance fighting without being dance fighting in terms of like the fluidity of the movement with the choreography and everything. Is great, and like each character had their own distinct fighting style, and that like was communicated repeatedly. Which was awesome.
That was definitely something that was lacking in Suicide Squad. You got like the two main people, and then you got somebody they didn't even introduce. So yeah, it's definitely stuff like that you can see that they took notes on.
Yeah. Matt, did you get your general thoughts, or should we go down the list?
We can go down the list.
All right. So, oh wait, I don't think I gave my general thoughts. I kind of just chimed in once in a while. Yeah, I loved it for all the reasons Sydney loved it. It was just really fun, enjoyable, R-rated comic book movie. Like they really, I think this says fuck more than Deadpool, maybe. Like they said fuck a lot, and I loved it.
Well, it works. I mean, with her character and with the characters in general.
But
like they do the characters so well.
But yeah, we'll go down the list. Directing, this is directed by Kathy Yan, and she definitely has a strong like I don't know, just fucking martial arts style to her cinema. It's very it's I've heard online it's getting compared to like Kill Bill and stuff, and it definitely is, but it's also just like, I don't know, a lot of different martial arts movies, and it's pretty fucking dope. I especially appreciate all the snap zooms, and then it would freeze on their face and stuff. That was fucking great.
Oh, the egg sandwich scene. Egg sandwich scene was amazing.
There was.
It was so good. Oh.
It made me hungry.
Yeah, I love the slow-mo for that, and just like giving so much weight to something that's so simple. It just informs the characters so much.
And at the same time, it's a feeling that every single person has had at some point.
What are your comments on like the style of the film?
I mean, style-wise, they did a lot of like overdub narration. And
it was very like noir-esque. It was
and it wasn't presented like, let's say, the Shawshank Redemption, where it's essentially like open narration over the story, and sometimes the character narrates over, or we're experiencing things that character that's narrating doesn't necessarily know. And in this one, it's more about like her inner insanity is essentially what we're hearing, because there's a couple times where she responds to the inner monologue that we're hearing and then interacts with stuff. It's like she like breaks the fourth wall a couple times after like interacting with this voice, and it's kind of just played as if she has voices in her head, and those voices are kind of just constantly narrating a story.
Play with that so much.
And I did enjoy that. A lot of the like shots, like combat stuff, was shot in 120 frames per second.
Yeah.
And they did a lot
Slow-mo,
of
like not Gemini Man.
yeah, no, they converted back to 24, and there was a lot of time remapping that they did in this that I honestly thought was really good.
The club scene was fantastic.
Yeah, like there's a lot of standard ones, like where they slow down, so the 120 frames is played at 24, and it's all slow and smooth and looks awesome. A lot of combat scenes did that, but yeah, the tracking shot through the club at the very beginning, before she blows up the chemical plant, essentially the first time in the movie, because there's a bunch of time jumping around that happens as Harley tells the story, which I think honestly worked for the way that she. It's just like insane and scatterbrained and whatnot. She doesn't understand.
Just
like,
distracted. Oh wait, let's go back.
Yeah, exactly.
I forgot this part.
but it felt like they purposefully executed the story that way, and where Suicide Squad feels like they just had 4 hours of footage and had to cram it into 2 hours.
Yeah.
And like
this felt very purposeful.
Yeah, it did. It's.
But yeah, the that club scene with the time remapping was fucking incredible.
Where it would end with
witness.
Harley right when it stopped and slowed down.
And yeah, like the whole thing is done in one take, and then they would do things where when they weren't gonna slow down time, they would move the camera quickly.
Yeah.
And then when they did slow down time, they would move the camera super fucking slow. The camera would just track through. And then when it was like, slowed down so we could see what was going on, the camera's moving at this speed. And then when it's super fast and moving around and everyone's like jumping around all like time movie, the camera's moving at the same speed. And it's fucking tracked in a single fucking take. And it's so crazy to watch. Like, I guarantee they had like a ceiling rig system that they could like the Super Bowl or the football games where they could just track the camera all over the place in order to do that, because I couldn't imagine any other way that they did it. Like doing it handheld, I feel like would be fucking impossible.
Oh, you could do it handheld. It'd just be hard.
It'd be so hard, man. You'd have to plan every single step like meticulously to be able to edit like that.
That's how they did.
Yeah, man.
That's how.
Like,
yeah.
Step by step. It'd be so much work. It'd be like a 3 or 4 week shot, guaranteed. But yeah, I thought that was super cool. Editing was excellent.
Yeah, I liked a lot of the transitions and stuff. Like, they would have things where, Huntress would shoot an arrow and then it would fly and then hit someone from like a flashback, and then cut to her. Like, love clever stuff like this. Mm-hmm. What do you two have any comments on the overall directing style of the film?
It was just really like engaging. Like, it kept everything moving, but it never felt jarring and it never felt out of place, and it just worked.
It felt deliberate, like you said, whereas Suicide Squad, it was a little bit aimless. I think, Peter, watching it for the first time last week, you were like, so what are they even doing right here? This is just not clear.
Yeah, there's a couple points where I was literally just like, who are these people? Why are they here? What is going on?
Yeah. Whereas with this, it's like, and if you don't know, you're about to find out, and the film, like, it lets you know that that's what's about to happen.
And that's
it frames it really well.
DC is evolving in their filmmaking, and they're learning as they're going, and they're making great strides. And I'm excited to see Wonder Woman as well, because it's along this. So the directing styles are awesome.
Yeah, I really liked it. So with writing, the biggest thing I appreciated in the writing department is how well all of their character threads came together for them to form the team. Mm-hmm. Everyone's like plot thread made sense and had good weight to the story. And it's just like, I was thinking about it, and I think it feels more natural than like Suicide Squad, definitely, the Avengers, Justice League, fucking. Yeah. What are other like team up ones where they have to come together?
Pretty much every team up, but like it feels way more natural than every team up.
Yeah, the way they all had influence on Black Mask. Yeah, it really came together well.
Yeah, it's not a whole freaking what is it? I need to you son of a bitch, I'm in.
You son of a bitch.
Your skills are needed.
Putting a team together. Yeah, that's...
putting a team together thing. No, it wasn't any of that bullshit. It was just naturally they all made an enemy.
I mean, that's what Suicide Squad's like. I got a book. This is this guy. This is that guy. They're gonna come together. I'm gonna force like this.
Yeah, no.
This one
this
was,
is
But this one's
their
like
paths
different
naturally
stories that converge almost at the end. I mean, most of it they're done separately or like one or two
They
characters
overlap.
together, and you get a better sense of the characters' individual stories playing out, and then they all come together in a more natural way.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, it allows you to get to know them. It allows their chemistry to be more natural and not forced. Like, it works. And then when they do decide to team up, like, they have a reason to other than, we need a team. It's like...
You need a team!
They have to.
Putting together a team.
There's no INT, but there's a team.
What?
But there is me.
And, yeah, it was fucking hilarious. Comments on the writing, Peter?
I mean, yeah, the writing was good. Yeah, no real complaints there. Just with the pacing, honestly, I just felt like the flashback in the middle. I just feel like it took too long to get back to when Harley was in the police station.
Oh.
There was I feel like that could have been edited a little bit better, or just like the script be written out a little more linearly. Because I did struggle at times to figure out like when things were happening at different points, and like how things interconnected. I'd have to watch it again to like see how things piece together. But I'm also super tired. I've been up for like 16 hours.
I like half agree because I didn't have a problem with it, but at the same time I had completely forgot that we had flashed back. And so like I'm just caught up in the mood, and then it's like at the bank and I'm like, oh yeah, back to this.
And yeah,
so
it was super,
I guess if you like, I see what you mean there.
and it was super hot in the theater too, so like I was
Dude,
I
they
was
need to
struggling
air it
with
out.
that.
It's always stuffy in there. Fuck, but never mind.
This is critique of the movie, not the theater.
I'm just saying, man, the theater environment affects my theater experience, so that's gonna affect how I view the movie.
Any other comments on the writing?
Oh, the humor was so well done.
It was spot on.
Like, and because all the characters were actually developed and written differently, like everybody had different beats that landed differently, and it all worked just well together.
Oh yeah, and
it wasn't everybody being getting to be the snarky asshole. It was like everybody.
Everybody felt well defined, and with that blends into acting. Who's everybody's favorite non-Harley Quinn character? My personal pick is Huntress. I already liked Mary Elizabeth Winstead before, and I love just random shit, just like, it's not a fucking crossbow, or it's not a fucking bow and arrow, where she's like freaking out. I thought that was funny, and I really like how awkward and crazy badass she is.
I like them, like everybody, like.
Well, yeah, but like.
I like everybody equally for different reasons.
Oh come on, that's a cop out. Just who's the standout? Who almost stole the show?
They shared that, like, I'm serious. I'm not. I'm not making a cop out.
I can't really pick a favorite.
Really?
Yeah, no. They everybody had their own moments. It was very well balanced. Like the cast is all strong.
My favorite wasn't like an individual character. It was the dynamic between the police officer and Black Canary, because they had this conversation that was like more in tone with like their characters than like every interaction in Suicide Squad combined, where she's like, it's like, yo, I know you got this power, and she's like, no, I'm not going to use it, like, because my mom used it, and it ended up, getting her like killed or something, and she died for somebody else, and all y'all, fuck cops. And she's like,
Black
oh,
Canary,
sorry,
supersonic scream.
Yeah.
I would have liked a little bit on that. They gave fucking Batman vs Superman and Suicide Squad an extended cut. This could have another 10-15 minutes in it. It's not even 2 hours, so.
I was really torn between again the Huntress and the Black Canary. I especially like with the Huntress that she's this badass assassin, but she's also like she's like trying to be like cool about it, and she's trying to figure out because she hasn't really had a whole lot of experience, even though she has the skills. Whereas Black Canary, instead of being dressing primarily in the color black, the actress herself is black, and so they go that route, and so it brings a different kind of characteristic to the character. Just the way
Yeah, like
different
she
people
is
act.
Black Canary.
Yeah, and like you said, there's different dynamics. There's the backstory with the characters. That was the I think that was the only power in the entire movie, but it still felt like an anti-hero, you know, comic book movie, regardless.
Yeah, I wasn't honestly a huge fan of Huntress. I'm just I'm not a huge fan of the whole awkward girl archetype. But yeah, it was what it was. She was badass, but yeah, just like the writing for her, I just felt was like like how can we make this awkward and funny now?
Well, but
I
it
feel
was
like
less
her
the
awkwardness
awkward.
had a purpose.
Yeah, because she was trained by those fucking dudes
Assassins
and never
had
got to
huge
fucking
trauma
be
that she
friends
never
with
processed.
anybody and shit. And like, yeah, I thought it worked so well with that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was beyond just like the chick from Breakfast Club.
Yeah. It wasn't just like she's quirky and awkward for the sake of quirky and awkward. It's literally she experienced massive trauma and then went and lived with two assassin dudes and had no other further socialization. Never had a normal childhood. She would be awkward as shit.
Yeah, like I said, I just not a huge fan of the archetype. That's all I gotta say.
But we just pointed out why it's not the archetype, though.
I mean,
It's
it's a new take on the archetype. But the character, like the way the lines are delivered, and whatnot, like, entitled to my opinion.
Fair point. I'm not saying that you're not.
Conform,
So
Peter.
yeah, cinematography, dope. One of the better looking DC movies, honestly.
yeah.
It was colorful, but not overly so.
You're right.
Whereas, like, you got like the weird effects that they were trying to pull off in Suicide Squad with the screen warping and the different tones. Whereas here, they were allowed to be more bright and colorful because the tone of the movie is brighter, and so they utilize that with the color palette in much more effective ways.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel muddy.
No,
That's the thing. It's like the color. It's like bright and colorful, but it doesn't feel like too loud or busy or muddy, unless it's supposed to be in a particular scene for like storytelling or thematic reasons, loud or busy. But it there's balance
Doesn't look like a music
with
video.
how it's going. It doesn't feel like overkill.
I like what you said too, Matt, about how it's not too bright. Because there are some movies where it's just the color is just so vibrant and there's so many different colors clashing that it does just feel like fucking gross. And this one,
They knew
did
their
it well.
color theory. They knew what went well together.
So yeah, special effects were really fucking good. There was some practical. The car chase sequence was excellent.
Oh, the stunts, man.
They did some real explosions, blended some good green screen effects with actual. They filmed the explosions and then blended in more stunt work with Harley Quinn on the roller skates.
Oh, when did she have time to change her shoes?
Yeah, they bring up stuff. It's great, but it doesn't feel cheap when that stuff gets brought up because it feels in
Because
character.
you think that she could actually pull it off,
Yeah, you're that's in character.
or she probably just had
And
this.
it established that she does roller derby
Yeah.
too, so it kind of brought that full circle and kind of that's the
It
coolest.
makes sense that she would have roller skates
Yeah,
instead
that-
of just oh hey look, roller skates.
That's,
Yeah, and it works in the plot. The roller skates become really important in the plot and all of that. So
So
she needs to have them on.
sound design. Any comments on the sound design or memorable moments at all for you?
I mean,
I just-
honestly, I didn't notice it too much. That means it's really good.
Yeah, it's true. Which one thing I want to talk about, oddly enough, with the music is the music worked really well, but there were times where when I was focusing on the music, where I was like, oh, I would never listen to this. But it worked with
But it fit the scene.
within the scene. Yeah, totally. Like it was like music I didn't like working for a scene that I liked, and therefore the music worked for it. I don't know. What y'all think of the music?
Yeah, it's there were times too when it like totally got me pumped.
Oh, it's like borderline just like anime, like metal at times with like video game sound effects.
It's like, yeah.
I like that they
Some good
definitely
needle
toned
drops.
it back. They toned it back, especially from the previous film, just having so many iconic songs on it that it was kind of a farce.
Whereas this,
Barracuda
like, it
was
feels
the big
natural.
needle drop of this, and then other than that, there were like cover versions, so they weren't too like, remember this song.
Right. No, I think it blended well into the movie. It didn't stand out. It wasn't in contrast. You weren't focusing on the music rather than the scenes, I think.
Yeah, they complemented it instead of like overpowering it. It wasn't like, oh, Bohemian Rhapsody's playing now. Yeah. No, they worked. And what was I gonna say? Now I'm just remembering like scenes with the music and stuff.
Well, it was, if you think of it, it was great. But yeah, the editing was awesome, so much better than Suicide Squad.
I know half of this critique is like against Suicide Squad, but it's just only because it's by contrast.
I mean,
that's
this
what we
is
have
the
to
quasi
compare.
sequel to Suicide Squad, and
This is heads and tails above.
oh yeah, so much better. All right, so let's that's basically it. So yeah, overall, Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. Awesome.
Yeah. And definitely going on the top 10 best for right now at least.
Yeah, for right now, definitely.
Right.
I don't know if it'll last, but as of now, it's the best new movie I've seen.
Yeah.
So Harley v Joker, what do you think?
No.
Yeah, they just need to phase him out.
Okay, let's talk about that. How do we feel about how they handled Mr. J not being in this movie?
Perfectly.
That'll be the last thing.
Yeah, he
Perfectly.
wasn't in it. So
He didn't need to
they
be
did
in it.
good.
It's the emancipation of one Harley Quinn, and it works.
But it didn't feel like I don't know. It was.
It didn't feel weird. It didn't feel awkward. It felt natural.
It did feel a little weird because at the end of Suicide Squad, Joker breaks into the jail to rescue her, and in this one he drops her flat. So those two things are usually don't go together. So it makes you think that something happened between them, but you don't really care because you know that the person who played the Joker just didn't work out as the character. So you're like, okay, I'm just gonna let that slide.
Also, too, there's that little animated thing where they talk about, they broke out of jail, they were together for a while, and then some shit happened, and then they broke up.
So yeah, I agree.
Time passed.
I thought it was handled well, but in a different world where Jared Leto wasn't an asshole, I would have been okay with a cameo appearance, where they at least have a scene where they can make that breakup a little clearer. All right, so let's just do the two trailers we haven't already done. So what'd y'all think of Spiral from the Book of Saw?
Dumb.
From producer Chris Rock.
Dumb.
Chris Rock starring Chris Rock in Spirals.
It's the most expensive fan film ever produced.
Just cut it out.
It's just like literally, it's the whole trailer is just Chris Rock just looking around, and he's intense and he's smoldering, and then
It doesn't look
I'm a
like
serious
horror
actor.
movie
just
at
the
all.
spiral spray paint, and he's like,
You see
and then
one,
he pulls
like-
up the hacksaw, and that's when you
Bum, bum,
know
bum, bum, bum,
that
bum, bum,
it's
bum, bum.
in the
Both
Saw
of the traps you see
universe.
aren't new. You don't see any new traps. It doesn't look like a horror movie at all. It looks like a lame paint by numbers, like
It's like a procedural thriller. It's like more like
detective
Seven.
like
but
thriller. And yeah, like there's I don't know. The best thing about this movie appears to be Sam Jackson and that guy from Handmaid's Tale.
I'm just.
That's it.
It's kind of just a weird, like, it's almost like a fake movie that would be in, I don't know. I never watched the show Entourage, but from what I gather based on references I've heard, this is a movie that would be in that show. Yeah. Spiral. We'll see it. We may like it. I didn't mind Jigsaw. I thought it was fun, stupid, but fun.
But this doesn't look like stupid fun. This looks boring.
You're right. This does look overly serious. Unlike Fast 9.
Oh my god.
The Fast
It's
saga.
an exploitation film.
I think
Can
I
we
saw
just
the
say
first
they're
Fast and Furious
exploitation
movie,
films at
and
this
then I
point? It's
just
a
didn't
fucking
care.
exploitation film.
What kind?
This is not a real movie.
Family exploitation.
It's a weird, like, car explosion,
It's a
exploitation,
car theft, spy, action
steroid
thriller.
exploitation.
It's everything, I guess.
They will introduce new characters until the cows come home.
We're hating on it, but it's got its fan base. It's gonna make a lot of money.
Yeah,
Hobbs and Shaw
I didn't-
2 is.
I didn't really get the trailer
CGI
though, because
Is that
like,
the stuffed animal
CGI
that looks
car
like Tigger?
chases, like, that's a thing.
well, I didn't really get the trailer though because they like were kept bringing up this whole thing about like Vin Diesel's like got a brother and whatnot, but they never
As
showed
John
anybody
Cena.
in the trailer. Like I never saw anyone on screen.
It's
And
John
yeah,
Cena.
Vin Diesel's like fighting with himself. It was super confusing to me.
No, John Cena's his brother. John Cena is supposed to be his brother.
Yeah, because you can't see John
'cause
Cena.
You can't see.
That just went over all your guys'
No,
heads. The
I
internet.
I got it.
You guys are with me.
I got
You guys got it.
I don't know who any of these people are, and I've never.
It's John Cena.
I've still
Okay, like I've
only
heard-
seen two Fast movies, so Yeah.
You're one above me. I saw the
But yeah,
first
John Cena's in it, and that's his thing. You can't see him, so that's the joke I made, and it went over all your guys' heads. None of you
Okay,
fucking
I'm
got
fucking
it.
tired,
And,
okay?
Yeah, I don't care. None of y'all getting away with that.
I'm
Don't
tired.
let me
Anyways,
with them.
this has been immediate review.
yeah, go watch.
I'm
you're-
sorry I'm so
Wait, have we
busy. I
already
can't
talked about the
edit
woman in the
videos
window?
anymore.
Oh, it's okay. What?
Woman in the window?
Promising young woman? You mean?
No, woman in the window.
What?
I know
And
we've talked about promising
we've already talked about one in the window.
Yeah, we talked
Yeah,
about
she's a
it.
woman.
You can
that's
talk
in the
about it
window.
if you want. It looks fucking excellent.
No,
I
you
think it looks
you
good.
were with us.
I think it looks great. I think it
It
looks.
looks like
it's-
modern rear window.
Yeah, it's front door.
Yeah, I'll always be a fan of the person who is crazy that knows the truth, but everyone thinks they're crazy because they are crazy, but they know
But
the
not
truth.
in that way.
It's classic.
Yeah, it's like they're crazy, but they're also right, and no
It's-
one believes them because they're crazy.
It's-
It's like it works.
Everyone
Story
can
of my
relate
life.
to that in some way. We've all been there.
Be like, no.
I
Just
especially
because
like
this
it when
one
it's a
thing is
doll.
true doesn't mean this other thing also
Fucking
isn't
aliens, man.
All right, go watch the movie. This was better than Joker, by the way.
So
Suck
much
my
better.
dick, Joaquin.
true. So much better. I had the opposite experience with this film that I had with
Don't watch the part noise.